Hi, welcome back to my channel. I'm Colouring with Liv, and today I'll be sharing how I coloured Cinderella, stitching her dress, ready for her Prince Charming. And I started it off with these Cotman watercolours by Winsor Newton for the base, and then I topped it off with some colouring pencils. So I have the Polychromos, and for finishing touches I used a white Posca pen and a black mircon pen in 03. Then I started off with my base, and at first I was going to do it all pink or all blue, but because I tried doing like a spotlight of colour in one of the other pages in this colouring book with Sleeping Beauty using Crayolas as watercolour, I decided to do it here as well using pink and yellow, and I thought it came out quite well because it's almost like she's in a dark room and she's trying to grab the light of that spotlight that's just shining through. Maybe the roof is broken or it's just one little light. I mean, in her time it will probably be more like candlelight, but it's just easier to just have that drop of spotlight there. And instead of just trying to colour the background, I just went throughout the whole of that, over the top of that illustration to create that base, and then we're going to colour on top of it. And then the colours that I'm using are raw umber in this brownish colour, lemon yellow, permanent rose, and cerulean blue. So the purplish colour that you saw in the palette was a mixture of that pink and blue. And now I'm just trying to add some shadows and lighter parts of her brown dress and the shoes. So I'm just creating like a lighter part on that shoe with a bit more water. So I'm still learning on how to use watercolor, so I probably added a little bit too much water there, and I was trying not to add too much water, but I did dab it off with a microfiber cloth on the arm, and then I was also trying to wipe away a little bit with the shoe. So I first grabbed the pigment from the palette itself. So I had some paint left over from a different colouring page I did in Tamea Herzig's colouring book. So I did a moth colouring in her book with these colours, and I haven't really worked with watercolour tubes, so I wanted to see how easy it was to reuse the colour that was left behind, and it was really easy. You just activate it with water. So it also makes me think that I probably need to get another palette just for watercolours if I'm going to be using tubes. But I normally use the pan watercolours, but the difference between the tubes I find almost seem to be more pigmented in a way, and it almost feels a little bit more controllable, like acrylic, that you can just mix all the colours, and they also tend to be cheaper as well. So I think when I have the watercolours in a pan, I almost end up using more water. I don't know, but yeah, these are the only 4 watercolours that I have in tubes. So I was just trying to do a base colour with all those watercolours. So I was putting the yellow, the pink, and now the blue, and if I could add a little bit of shadow, I would add a little bit of shadow, but I wasn't too stressed out about adding shadows at this particular point because I'm going to top it off with pencils. But at the same time, it did look pretty cool adding that lighter parts. And when I was going over with the colouring pencils afterwards on the brown dress and shoes, it almost felt like it wasn't changing the colour that much. this part with the thread. So I started it off with this Raphael watercolor brush, and then I ended up switching later to a cheaper brush. I don't know why I decided to use a cheaper brush, but I found some, like a pack of 4 fine tip brushes from Cultura for about €3 or €4 by a brand called Realia. And yeah, so both the Raphael and the other cheaper like fine liner brush, it was difficult to do those kind of round circle motions when I was working on that thread, and that's why I have on my wish list to eventually get a Kolinsky brush, but yes, we can dream. Maybe next Christmas. So yeah, so I'm just trying to use what I can, and it's not too bad. But if you'd like to leave me a tip or donation so I can get that Kolinsky brush, I'll leave a link to my Ko-Fi. So next up, I thought I would add some purple to the edges because it looks a little bit flat still before I move on to the colouring pencils. So I thought just adding a little bit of shading or shadow, because I already had that purple in the palette as well, and I was just trying to use up all those colours. And look at that, I'm going over the watercolour, and I thought it might merge everything together, but it didn't. So that's good because I didn't want it to blend. I just wanted it to create some kind of shadow. So this is where I got to as far as the watercolor part is concerned. So I thought, yep, that looks all right as it is. The yellow part looks quite light at the moment, but I will add some coloring pencils to make that deeper in color. And I had initially wanted to do the next page after this, the Elsa and Anna page from Frozen, because I layered some gesso on it when I was working on the Dear page from Joanna Basford's book. I had put gesso on both of those pages, and I felt like it worked better using acrylics, so I wanted to use acrylics on that Elsa and Anna page. But I had some watercolor in my palette left over, so I thought, hey, why not use that on this page? And I have the perfect color combination for this page as well, because I wanted to use pink or blue with a little bit of yellow as well. So I thought I could quickly just do this page, and then I can move on to the Elsa and Anna page. But now that it's coming up closer to Valentine's, I'm not too sure if I'm going to do that Elsa and Anna page now. I mean, it's still January, I could still do it because it's cold outside. But I've also got 2 new colouring books. I've got one from Rita Berman and one from Kirby Rosanne's. So I've got the Dark Fairy Tales, finally, yay, from Kirby Rosanne's. So yes, so many options. And then I've got a buddy colour coming up as well. So we've decided to do the Teapot page in Small Victories by Joanna Basford. So if anyone out there wants to colour along with us on that one, just send me a message, and when we do post it, we can tag you along as well. when I was thinking of how to do the skin colour for my Cinderella, I had a little look on YouTube and I saw that Gemma Chambers art suggests that she starts from her lightest colour and then works to her darkest. So I was trying to follow that advice and just work from my lightest skin tone to the darkest. And then once I had a nice base, and that's when I went back and forth with that. So thank you, Gemma, for that advice. And then I added some shadows towards the bottom because I felt like the objects felt a little bit like they were in space, that I needed a bit of a floor. So I thought adding some shadows would be the perfect solution to that. But I felt like I always put my shadows going in one direction, like either to the right or to the left. But because the spotlight is there, the shadow from the stool would be facing towards me, and the stuff that's on the right, the shadow would go to the right, and the stuff that's on the left, the shadow would go to the left. So yeah, just trying to think up of different shadows. And I also put a little shadow under the foot, so it looks like he's lifting up his foot off the floor as well. And now to add a little bit of a border. So I did something similar in my Lulu Mayo colouring page, which I did last Easter, and I was almost like swatching out using those doodles with some water-based markers that I got from the cheap shop that I did over pastels, and then so using that pink marker and then a pink Stabilo marker and then a white Pip pen, and just kind of seeing which pen looks best to be used as the doodle, and then I just went over it with the water-based marker on top of that. So I used like a pink on pink, and here I used purple on top of the pink, the purple pencil. So that's kind of what gave me the idea of doing something here. And because she's making a dress, I thought, oh well, she's making lace, like she could add some lace to the dress. So it's almost like a little bit of a doily border. So I thought that's quite a cute thing. And I was like, should I put it in white or purple? And because I thought that was more of a shadow, the edges for that border of the circle, then that's why it would be in purple. And sorry about the blurriness of this, I don't even know why I kept that in there, but yeah. Now moving on to the acrylic markers. So the yellow watercolor that I added, you couldn't really see it, so I had to add some markers, some acrylic markers. So these acrylic markers were from my local cheap store, Giphy, and this is just like a light yellow, and then I also have a light pink and light blue, and luckily it didn't spludge out everywhere, and actually drew some lines, which is nice because when I used the white one in this Christmas blue page, where I added like a Santa for the background in Joanna Basford's Enchanted Forest, the white just kind of spludged a bit everywhere when I was making the stars, and then I just got a cotton swab just to try and make that paint not be so thick and go away a little bit. But yeah, so I just went over everything that I did so far, and I felt like it's still looking a little bit flat. So I was like, what can I do? Maybe I'll add a little bit of metallic. So I have some metallic acrylic paint in blue and pink, and I think I do have one in gold as well, but I ended up using this gold watercolor by Finetech, and I'm not even sure if it's an original Finetech gold color because it was sold separately. I bought it from a good shop that sold Copic markers, but the green and purple Finetech watercolor, like this gold one, didn't manage to survive my boxes after 3 or 4 years, and also shipping it from the other side of the world as well. Maybe there was some oxidization or something like that happened, but it just made the green and purple look like rust in the end. But the gold managed to survive, but it still feels hard to pick up that color. It's really weird. It's like I just had to keep putting my paintbrush and almost like scratching into it to try and grab that gold color from it. And then towards the end, like even though the gold was enough, I ended up still going over that gold with a bit of gold gel pen. And sometimes I don't really like using the gel pens. I like it because it's really sparkly, but then I don't like it because it smudges easily, especially if you do it over any kind of acrylic or gesso or any like non-porous surface. So yeah, when I put this metallic acrylic paint over the top, the pink really started to come alive at this point. So these acrylics are just some cheap ones from Amazon, just in tiny little tubes. So I'll leave a link to that in my description. And yeah, so it's coming together slowly, but I felt like it was still lacking something in the background. I still felt like I needed to add a little bit of something. As the thread almost looks like ribbon at this particular point, I decided to add a little bit of white Posca pen to give it a bit of shading, I guess. And the background still felt like it was missing something, so I decided to add some little stars, because the fairies around Cinderella that were trying to... Oh no, I think I'm getting confused with Sleeping Beauty here. Yes, I'm getting confused with Sleeping Beauty. Oh gosh. So in Sleeping Beauty, there were fairies and there were loads of stars. So that's where I got this idea from. Whereas Cinderella had mice and birds helping her. I guess Snow White had more birds. I sometimes joke around how I feel like Snow White with the amount of pigeons that come to see me on my balcony. Yeah. And then I kind of wish I didn't go in with the gold gel pen. I wanted to add a little bit more glitter, but I always end up smudging a little bit of the gel pen, but it didn't smudge too badly, so it's alright. And just as I thought I was finished, I decided that the gold thread or ribbon, you couldn't really see it. It was sort of fading into the background a little bit. So I felt like I needed to make it pop a bit. And I was playing around with the black micron pen and just creating slight shadows. But then in the end, I just decided to go all over both sides. So yeah, I don't know if that was the right decision or not. Let me know what you think. Give this a like, a thumbs up, and a subscribe. And I'll see you in the next one, guys. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.